Huh? We're good. WDXE Radio, you are live. Right now, we are in the studio, everybody.
I'm sorry.
Here we are. We're good. We're good. We're back. I know y'all miss me. I had a little sickness last week. Had a little sinus infection going. I didn't want y'all to hear me coughing and wheezing and sneezing and all that good stuff. But we're good now. We're good now. We're back in the saddle again. I got my great friend with me once again, Lawrence Sutton, back in the saddle with me again in the studio. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm good. We had some good weather. Looking like it's going to get a little rainy on us this week, but we're all right. We're hanging in there.
Yeah,
hanging in there.
Yeah, we are. It was nice today. I was out doing some yard work and everything, getting everything done that needs to get done.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Yep.
Part of it. Starting the week off Monday, folks, 5:10 in the afternoon. Wherever you're listening from, it's going to be a good show. We got a lot of things to talk about, and we're going to break down some real issues that I think are kind of bothering everybody. We're just going to give it to you live.
Yep.
I mean, that's all there is to it. If you want to call in 766-9393, talk to us. We want to hear from you. Let us know.
Well, last time that we were together, we discussed about who the smartest man in the Bible was.
Yep.
And
Let me do one technical thing.
okay.
Ruh-roh.
I know. I'm pretty sure my fan that I have, my fan, we got a heat issue
A
here.
little warm.
So,
We're all right, though.
Let me just make sure my fan's not going to throw us off.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Kip.
You're good. We're good.
I know.
It is all good in the neighborhood.
See, my owl picks up. So I want to make sure. Lawrence, would you go and move chairs for me?
Where do you want me to move?
Just move right across, because that fan's picking up my owl noise right there.
Okay. Is that better?
You want it? You want him to actually move seats?
Oh, physically, yeah.
Oh,
sit
yeah,
across.
like pick up
Yeah,
on-
yeah, cross
Okay,
from him.
gotcha.
I'm sorry. That way, the camera's going to go over and hear that fan going.
Yep.
Technical difficulty.
We're gonna
I'm
get
sorry.
there. We're good. We are
I
going
guess
to
be
get
closer to the fan. I
There you go.
won't be as hot now.
there. You can't beat that, honestly.
I'm trying to figure out
So, anyway, we're back live again, right?
Well, we've always been live.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
I'm trying to figure out.
All
This
right.
is all Charlotte here. So
We're good.
I'm just trying to make sure that.
So anyway, we had discussed last time, and it didn't get on the YouTube channel. But who was the smartest person that was in the Bible?
King Solomon.
King Solomon. And do you know who wrote the book of Ecclesiastes?
It's King Solomon.
King Solomon.
Yep.
Well, King Solomon wrote this well over 2,500 years ago, and I'm just going to read a couple of these versions. It says, "A wise man's heart," and this is Ecclesiastes 10:2. "A wise man's heart inclines him to the right, but a fool's heart to the left." King James says, "A wise man's heart is at his right hand, but a fool's heart is at his left." It's kind of funny, here we are, and the Democrats are the one that claims to be the party of the left.
That's right.
It's not like we've given them that moniker. They've
No.
actually chose it themselves.
That's right. You're exactly right.
And right here, God is telling us more than 2,500 years ago, before we ever had the clash of the battle of the Republican and the Democratic Party and the clash of conservatives and liberals, or the clash of the right or the left, God's telling us that the left is the foolish ones.
Yeah. Well, you're exactly right. I mean, that come from the good book, folks. I mean, you can't beat that.
Yeah, I mean,
That's an excellent.
you can argue. You can argue with me and you, but
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
you're
yeah.
not going to argue with God on this.
That's true. It'd be really hard to anyway. I don't think you'd have any success.
It will be. Now, can you give us some more updates on what's going on with the special session? I know everybody
Yeah.
I talk to, I mean, that's what's on everybody's top of their
Sure.
mind
Yeah.
is the special session.
Yeah.
What are you hearing?
So right now, the governor has publicly said that he is going to call for the special session on August 21st. Now, he hasn't, to the best of my knowledge today, which we've been closed today, but anyway, he has not actually called the special session yet. So the call hasn't been made. He just said he's going to, and that's the date that he's given us,
Okay.
August 21st. I've had a lot of people ask me, well, how long is it going to last? What's it going to look like? Kind of what's going on as far as when y'all get up there. And the best answer that I can give everyone at home is that I don't know. I don't know what that looks like because we're in a very unique situation. There's several different options that could come out of this. The first option is he could call us up there. We could meet. We could go on the floor, and someone could theoretically make a motion to go home. And then we would vote on that motion, and we would stand in recess, and we would all go home until January.
Unless he called another special session. Could he do that?
I think theoretically he could, but I don't know. I think kind of if that happened, the point would kind of be there and be like, well, I mean, if he did it again, we'd just do the same thing again.
Right.
In the House, as far as that goes. Now, the same thing could happen in the Senate. You know, both chambers work at the same time. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. The Senate could just flat out say, hey, we're not interested in doing anything. We're not interested in taking up any legislation. We're going home. So if the Senate goes home, the House goes home.
And vice versa?
Vice versa. If the House decides to go home, the Senate will go home. Because we have to, both chambers have to be in, you know.
Okay, so we just need one of those to say, hey, we ain't putting up with this.
That's right. That's one option.
Okay.
Do I think that's likely? No. But it's an option. The second option is we could, I guess it could be, 2 or 3 days. We would have all the committees open. Well, not all the committees germane to the subject. Let me roll back a little bit. Let's say the governor makes the call for the special session, and he calls it for public safety, right?
Right.
So the committees germane to the subject of public safety would be open. I don't know what those committees look like. They could be the same committees as we had this past session, which I think would be great. Or it could be new committees set up by the Speaker and the Lieutenant Governor specifically for the special session. That's another option. But each elected representative gets 15 brand new bill slots to file for the special session. So it's like a brand new session. So last special session, I got 15 bills. Clay Doggett got 15 bills. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You get 15 bills. That's your max. Mm-hmm. So that means Republicans and Democrats, we all get 15 bills to file. Now, with that being said, I would make the assumption that every Democrat in the House would file all 15 bills, and it's going to be everything from a total ban on every gun that's ever been made to who knows.
Liberal Wonderland, in
exactly,
other words.
Pretty much.
I want to touch on something that you had said, about with the special session, mm-hmm. and Bill Lee could call it in for public safety.
Could, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I actually, I'm going to tell you, the people I talk to, mm-hmm. I have a problem with that being on the public safety because sure. Public safety, he's actually putting the Tennessee citizens at risk.
Sure.
Because unlike all the other times, mm-hmm. the Republicans, we mainly are working, we're taking care of our families, and sure. we just think that things are just going to happen. Yeah. Not this time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's a bunch of people. I mean, Murray County was talking about bringing 6 busloads up there.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have a clash
100%.
Of people up there. And I'm going to tell you something. Bill Lee owns it.
Yeah, he does.
He will own this if it happens because he's the one that's causing it. The second thing, and we discussed it, at the NRA banquet the other night.
We did. Shout out friends of the NRA.
Yeah. We have 30 tons of ammonia nitrate that's missing, that has been stolen.
Missing, yeah.
And you're going to have a lot of people in Nashville come this special session.
Yeah. And, I mean, it's been broadcast everywhere. I mean, the Democrats are doing. That's what they do, folks. They do a great job at advertising chaos.
Yes.
You know, when we saw with the expulsion vote, I mean, they had buses of college students and other, individuals that came in from East Tennessee. They bussed them in. Planned Parenthood spent no telling how much money. I know, Lawrence, we've talked about it. I know some folks at home have seen it. The Tennessee Star ran an article. They had a recording of Planned Parenthood in Nashville. Planned Parenthood was training people on how to professionally protest to be as effective as possible. They were teaching them where to go. They were teaching them where our offices were. They were teaching them how to game the system in order to not just follow. Look, I don't care if people follow me. You can
Right.
have a camera in my face all day long. I've been on every liberal media, yada, yada, yada. They don't like me. That's fine. But there's a way that they're doing it now, which is gaming the system as far as going into offices when they know they're not allowed, or badgering folks, trying to get assault charges on people. They're doing these things to create a rise out of people. And you're exactly right. When you have two opposing sides of such a serious issue coming together, it's really a tinderbox.
Right.
And all that tinderbox needs is just a little bitty spark, and it's going to explode. We've got troopers. I know for a fact I've heard rumors that we're going to have, 75 to 80% of all the state troopers in Tennessee, in Nashville at one period of time. There's been talks about bringing the National Guard up.
Yes, I've heard that.
That is not a good, healthy environment for anything.
No.
I mean, here's my thing. I'm all about expressing ideas and bringing different values and everything to the table. We've talked about this before, and I talked about it when I called into y'all's show last week. I might not like someone's opinion. I might not like what they have to say. It might make my head hurt and make my blood pressure go through the roof. But I'm not the kind of person that's going to shut somebody down, because I'm comfortable enough to where I feel like, even on my toes, I can disagree with you, shut you down, you're wrong, that's fine.
Right.
But this is creating an environment, I think, personally, where that's not going to happen. That's not going to be possible. When you look at the expulsion vote specifically, I mean, it was nuts. It was the most chaotic thing. I never would have expected it to have gotten that bad. I mean, people were assaulted. Our troopers were assaulted. We had representatives that were grabbed, spit on. I mean, trapped in a bathroom. It was chaos. It was pure chaos. And that's what this is going to be. I mean, I know personally, there's going to be several different Second Amendment groups, which, God love them, are going to be up there demonstrating their rights and letting their representatives know that, hey, we don't want any of this in Tennessee, which, I love that. But the problem is the left is going to play on that. And the media has never been on our side, right?
No.
Then they never will be. So the minute something happens, it doesn't matter if the left starts it, if the right starts it, the minute something happens, it's going to be automatically, just by default, it's going to be the Republicans' fault.
It's going to be the Republicans'
bat.
fault. Absolutely, that's how they're going to do. And you're right, about the media.
Yep.
The good thing is, though, at least we have the ability, at least Charlotte here gives
Yeah.
us this
100%.
ability to bring it out. So I wouldn't say it's 100%
Sure.
of the media,
Yeah. Oh,
but
yeah,
I'm going to tell you, it's
you're
at least 90%.
Sure. Oh, 100%. Yeah. Well, yeah. Yes, it's at least 90%. We've got some conservative media outlets out there and some Republican outlets out there across the state too that they try to be as fair as possible, and I certainly appreciate them, because I feel like real journalism is almost completely gone in this country.
It has. I mean, I feel like what we've been doing here lately is
Yeah.
journalism.
Sure.
And frankly, I mean, I'm a dumb redneck. What do I have, to do with journalism? But I feel like I got to get involved.
Of course.
And use
Absolutely.
whatever gifts God has given me.
Absolutely.
I did want to expound on that. When we're talking about the people coming in and
Yeah.
and you don't want to shut anybody down.
Yeah.
But I had mentioned last week.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about me personally.
Yeah.
If it's a Tennessean,
Yeah.
I have no problem
Yes.
with them having an issue about, and they can say,
Yeah.
okay, you can't,
Yeah.
we don't want guns. Okay, I hear you. I might say you might want to move to California,
Sure.
where you came from,
absolutely.
or something like
Yeah,
that.
somewhere else, yeah.
But my issue,
Yeah.
and it was a lot of the issue in the House chamber, especially, these people were bussed in from other states, and I mean, Kip, I just don't feel
No, I
like
agree.
that these people should have
I look back
a
last
voice.
week too, and I was on the road, so I was
Yeah, I know, you couldn't hear everything.
I was cutting in and out, so I thought you said just Tennessee's, but no, you're right. I think, and I could be mistaken, but I'm almost positive, when they come in, we're on the second floor or whatever
Right.
floor it is up the stairs. When they come in, they have to check in with the troopers, and they give them their ID. Now, I don't know for sure. I know they have to check their ID. I don't know for sure, and I don't think if you have a license that say we got somebody that has an Alabama license or something else, I don't think they're going to stop them from coming in.
Right.
Now, I believe that would be up to the lieutenant governor and the speaker and maybe even the governor. I think those are the three that have to make the decisions as far as
Who's allowed
who
in?
gets allowed in. I think.
Well, I say, folks, if you're listening, call them. Tell
Yeah.
them we don't want people
Yeah.
coming in from out of state
Yeah,
telling us
call
how to
them.
run our state.
Absolutely.
I don't go to California and tell them how to run liberal
right.
liberal wonderland there.
That's right. You're right.
I mean, they're in California. You can stay in California. You can
Leave
stay
your
in
business.
New York. Okay? However you want to govern your state
Sure.
is fine.
Go ahead.
Leave my state alone.
I agree 100%. Yeah, call them, folks. Call them. Go
Yes.
to capital.tn.gov, capital.tn.gov. Go to the legislators tab on the website. Click their names. It'll come up with their email, their office number, all that stuff. Call them, email them. It takes 5 minutes, if that.
Charlotte, is that something that we can put on the on our YouTube, a link for people?
Do it right now.
Awesome.
Okay.
Charlotte's going to put a link on the YouTube. That'll be easier. Just click the link, go to the legislators tab, legislators, and it'll bring up everybody's name, and you can click on them, and it'll bring up their email, their phone number. Email them and call them. I mean, it doesn't take a long time. You can do that pretty quick. You can do it right now while we're talking.
That's right.
Going back.
Tell me where to go.
Yep, capital, CAPITOL, .tn.gov.
That's a good picture they got of you.
Handsome feller.
So I wasn't able to get the camera stream up, but there it's going. It's broadcasting across.
Yeah,
the
that's fine. I got a face for radio anyway, so I'm good with that.
So yeah, so that's what's streaming. So I'll put the information up so they can
Good deal.
definitely know where to go.
Awesome.
So, but yes.
That picture must have been when you really started getting into campaigning there.
Yeah,
Kip.
it was. That's
was
right
about
at-
30 pounds lighter
it was.
probably there.
That was about 55 fish fries ago. maybe 155 now. Yeah. And a lot of good camera angles, too. I think they cut some of that off. Anyway, so going back to the special session, the third option is that we're there for 2 weeks, and it's just a constant battle, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. My personal opinion, I feel like the longer it goes, the worse it gets.
Correct. Now, when you say the worse it gets, is it worse it gets for us and losing our gun rights, or is it worse it gets we may
No.
have protests and we have
I feel like
violence in the streets?
I would say the worse it gets, meaning the larger chance, the more opportunity there is for someone to get hurt.
Right.
Because there's more time, there's more emotion. That's obviously there's going to be already enough
Right.
emotion built up now with the time they have to prepare. But being there, getting more organized once they're there, emotions running high, something happens. There's just more opportunity. That would be my thing. Now, personally, I don't think I would be extremely surprised if, and I mean it would just knock me flat out of this chair, if there would be any legislation passed that would be anything like a red flag law. I know they don't have the votes as far as where I'm sitting right now, as far as in my brain. They don't have the votes for that. What we're trying to look at, I don't want to go up there and vote for anything, but in the reality of the situation, if we go up there and maybe we put some more money into mental health facilities and maybe we open up some more beds in the state for these people that are calling in. We had a meeting, I guess it was about a month, maybe month and a half ago in Nashville. Several legislators, some of my really great Republican colleagues. Shout out Clay Doggett, he was there.
Great guy.
Fantastic individual. I can't remember the specific numbers, folks. I have it written down at my binder at the house. I didn't bring it with me, so that one's on me. But let's just say, for instance, we get, this year already we've had 20,000 mental health calls. Mm-hmm. Now we've only got something like 5,000 hospital beds in the state of Tennessee. So if every person that's called in is deemed by the state to say, hey, maybe they need to spend a couple days in a mental health facility. Let's just kind of evaluate them, see where they're at. Maybe they actually need help. Well, we don't have enough beds right now.
Right.
20 years ago, I think we had either double or triple the beds that we have now. So the mental health calls have gone up, but the beds have gone down.
Well, we've tried to take, instead of having human one-on-one trying to help people, we're just trying to give them drugs to help people.
Yeah, and pawning them off on the phone. And, they mentioned something to us about these virtual calls that people can make over Skype and, mental health virtual stuff. And I just told them, I said, look, I represent a rural area. I live in a rural area. Internet's not the best right now.
Right.
So, if I've got somebody that lives in, I don't know, Leoma or Wayne County or, rural Murray County or even Hardin County, and they don't have good internet, well, that's pretty much useless.
Well, that's where I'm at.
So,
even in Summertown, we just have satellite internet, and sometimes it's spotty.
It is, yeah. Oh, yeah. I feel the pain. If it was something like that, where it was strictly mental health based, I think I would be comfortable with it as long as firearms weren't mentioned. If firearms weren't mentioned, I would be comfortable with something like that because I think we're behind the power curve on it. Now, do I want to go up there and vote on something? No. But if it was something that I felt was beneficial for the district and I think that would help Tennesseans, sure. Do I think that's going to happen? Maybe. I know several representatives right now have got some things that they're very conservative-minded individuals, some guys that I have a lot of respect for, that are working on some things that are good, I think.
Right.
But it's just, what does it look like when we get there? What does it look like when it's on paper? That's the big thing. What does it actually do?
Now, are you guys going to have the ability to and quote unquote stick it to the man? Mm-hmm. When you go up there and maybe try to get some better gun legislation for us to get us more freedoms. I find it appalling that we're one of 4 states that cannot carry a rifle legally.
Yeah.
That's appalling. And we're one, Florida's the other, New York, and is it California or Vermont? I know there's only 4.
Vermont's not. It might be California.
It's 4 states.
Florida, us, New York. There's one more.
Yeah, one more, and I can't remember who that is. But to me, I find that appalling. Tennessee is the patron saint of shooting stuff.
We 100% are. We are. We absolutely are.
And we have this, and even our constitutional carry really and truly is not a constitutional carry. Bill Lee punted on that one, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's more like permitless carry for handguns, and theoretically, yeah, that's possible. It just depends on the subject that he calls, and like I said, if it's public safety, I feel like constitutional carry would be relevant to public safety.
Absolutely,
I feel like that's relative to our public safety.
Yes.
I've told several folks that if it's called for that, then I'm planning on introducing a piece of legislation that's going to ban red flag laws in Tennessee. Can I get that done? I don't know, but I'm going to try. We'll just see. It's just dependent on the subject that's your, and I keep saying the word germane. It's subject to what he calls it.
Right.
So if he calls it for mental health, then we wouldn't necessarily be able to introduce constitutional carry because that's not really relevant to mental health.
Right,
So
correct. I understand
it's
that.
just all dependent on what the topic, I guess, is. But no, I think I think people will be surprised by some of the things that are in the chamber ready to go.
Well, that's awesome. And that's the other thing I've been hearing, for the past month, and I've been seeing, little bits and pieces that he's actually calling legislators to the mansion to talk to you guys.
Yeah.
And what have you heard about that? Have you been invited
I
yet?
have been invited. I have been invited. Mine has not come up yet. Mine is actually really late. Really late in the game.
Probably because he knows he can't do anything with you.
That's a possibility. That's definitely a possibility. Mine is very, very late. There's been several of my colleagues that have already gone and met with him. And the reports that I've gotten is that it's not gone very well. In that...
You mean for Bill Lee?
Correct. In that he wants to call it for whatever reason it is. I haven't spoken with him yet in person about the subject. I haven't spoken with him really at all about it. But I've heard he's got a significant amount of pushback on it, and that's understandable. I mean, I can't tell you how many phone calls, emails, people that I've seen just around town in the district that have told me, you better not go up there and vote for... I've had people tell me, you better not go up there and vote for anything. You better not go up there and vote for red flag laws. I've had people say, hey, kind of like what me and you have talked about. Hey, why don't you go up there and introduce something that pushes the needle our way, which I think is a fantastic idea.
Yeah. That'll teach them a lesson.
Exactly. And I don't think it's gone very well. I really don't. And I kind of have a little bit of a different approach about things. I can be firm but respectful about my opinion. And this is certainly one that I'm going to be very firm about because I'm not for red flag laws in any way, shape, or form. I don't care what you tell me. I don't. And there's been this other thing that's gone out there about somebody's done a poll where it said that like 60% of Tennesseans are for red flag laws. I don't know, necessarily what those people that did the poll were smoking, but I don't know. I'm really honestly trying to think of in our district. I'm sure there's a couple people that are more liberal-minded that might be for it, but I would be willing to say 95%, well, at least 82%, right?
Yeah, right, exactly.
At least 82% of our district is absolutely not for red flag laws, because that was a big thing that I campaigned on. I mean, I was big in the TFA, and the NRA endorsed me after I won the primary, and I talked with them. I'm talking with the NRA now. We're just not for that. And I feel like it's that way across the state. Now, you're going to have little pockets in big cities and stuff.
I mean, absolutely you are. But, a lot of times it's how the question's framed.
That's true.
And again, we talked about how the media is dishonest.
Sure.
You can frame a question, and it may not even look like a red flag law question.
Like, should a crazy person have a gun?
Guns?
Yeah.
That's right. Now,
yeah.
of course, I mean, if you ask me that, I would probably say, no, I don't want a crazy person to have guns. Okay?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, who gets to define who is crazy?
That's right.
Because, and that's what worries me, because let's face it, Kip, me and you in Washington, D.C., we would be looked at as crazy.
Oh, 100%.
There's, in Davidson County,
Yep.
there's places that me and you would be crazy.
Oh, yeah, we're radicals.
Yeah.
Yeah, radical. What do they call us? What do they call us? The Trumpkins.
Oh, Trumpkins?
We're radical Trumpkins.
Yeah, I keep going back to that we cling to our guns and our religion.
Yeah, well,
And that
not
we're
necessarily
deplorables.
bad. Deplorables.
We're deplorables.
Deplorables.
And you know that they're very good at naming, giving
are.
people names.
They are.
And so that kind of segues us into the other thing I wanted you to discuss with
Yeah.
us is what can you tell us about the manifesto that you know?
So, the manifesto, I haven't personally gone and seen it. I think I'm going to get that opportunity at some point. And I'm going to take that opportunity, but I have heard through the grapevine several different details about the manifesto. Now, I'm not going to go into a great amount of detail about it just because I don't want to breach this person's trust. But I can tell you there's several different things that are involved with the manifesto right now. The first thing I want to talk about is it's basically a large portion of it is a how-to book on how to shoot up a what we, as Republicans call a soft target.
Gun-free zone.
Or a gun-free zone.
Let's call it what it is.
It's a gun-free zone. It's a soft target.
Yes.
Which we know, because we're of sound mind, is an easy location for someone that wants to commit evil, right?
Right.
So it's basically a how-to manual on how to commit evil in that certain area. The individual took notes on Parkland. She took notes on the Columbine shooting. She had a detailed map of the location. She was very familiar with the school just based on, I guess, her experience of going there, knowing people there, yada, yada, yada. That's a big part of it. Now, another part of it is she basically says in the manifesto that the reason she didn't go to another location, which was, and I'm pretty sure I've seen this in the media, so
It's already. I've seen this in the media. I know where you're going with this.
At liberty to talk about that, was Opry Mills. And the reason that she didn't go to Opry Mills that she talks about was because they had armed security. Well, Opry Mills is not a gun-free zone. Maybe it is. I don't know, but she saw.
I don't think it is.
So if it's not, there you go.
I was up there like 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and I absolutely refuse to go into places that are gun-free zones.
Sure.
And it's not necessarily because I have to carry my gun.
Yeah.
It is for this very reason that you just explained, that it puts myself and my family,
100%.
I think, as fish in a barrel, people being shot.
100%.
I mean, I went up to Whole Foods here about 3 months ago,
Yeah.
up there in Cool Springs.
Yep.
Walked right up to the door, had the big no gun sign on.
Yep.
Guess what I did? I turned around and went and walked away.
Yep, I understand.
And it has nothing to do with even the protesting of it.
Yeah.
It's the fact I do not feel safe.
Oh, and you shouldn't, because if somebody walks into Whole Foods and starts shooting and you don't have a gun, you better hope you're close to an emergency exit.
Correct.
I mean, going back to the manifesto, it's extremely evil. This was a demented individual that, just going off of the things that I know are in it, really kind of, it definitely doesn't justify the act, but you can see the frame of mind that she was in. I mean, she was a broken, I'm talking about broken, insane person. She hated her father. She had fantasized about killing people before this.
Right.
And she thought, and it's just like every other shooter, right? They feel like if they can kill enough people, that they're going to be put in kind of like a limelight and be remembered. And she talks about that in great detail about if she could hurt enough people that she'll be remembered because she hated herself so much because she was a female and she wanted to be a male. Now, there's a whole lot more that I know that I'm not going to talk about, but I cannot stress enough to the folks at home how broken this person was. Think about the most evil, broken individual that you can imagine and make it 10 times worse. And that's what this consists of. And it's terrible. It's an awful situation. But she was a broken person that specifically wanted to kill children and to hurt people so that she'd be famous. And there's a lot more, and once we get kind of down the road, we'll talk about it more when I feel comfortable with releasing more information. But
Right.
that was her main goal, was killing as many children and people possible, because if she did that, she would be remembered. Which is disgusting.
It is absolutely heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But I also will say this: I really think that most people, I'm even going to include the Democrats in on this.
Okay.
Most people cannot truly understand evil.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
You're right. Absolutely.
and we don't understand, and that's the reason I am so against anything having to do with red flag laws or anything having to do with even touching our Second Amendment.
Yep.
Because if you go back and read history, and I'm on the low side here, more than 200 million people were killed in the 20th century alone because of guns being confiscated and then evil people going and killing people that they disagreed with.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the reason why we have to fight this so bad.
Absolutely.
Because truthfully, me and you're just sitting here talking, I truly think we're in the end times.
Yep.
And God tells us that in the end times, what is good will be called evil, and what is evil will be called good.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing this manifest on a daily basis.
Yep.
And I want to have that ability to defend myself to the end and not have to go down on my knees,
Of course.
but standing up.
Of course. Absolutely. No, you're exactly right. And it's just, I think we're almost at the point in society right now where we've got this level of comfort, and especially where we live. And thankfully, I think we've gotten to that level of comfort because we have such great law enforcement. We've got such great men and women who go out there, put their neck on the line for us, that don't know if they're going to come home at night or at the end of their shift. That's created this environment for us where we can feel safe, right?
Right.
Especially where we live. Now, if you go to a city like Chicago or something, maybe you don't feel that way. But at least in Lawrence County and in the 71st District, I feel like our men and women that are in law enforcement and EMS and fire have created that for us, and we're blessed. We really are blessed to have that. But there is real evil. She was textbook broken, evil, insane individual. Those people are walking around every day. They're
Yes.
out there, and at any moment they can snap. And my whole thing from the beginning is that why are we restricting people that follow the law to the T from owning firearms in the first place? I mean, if somebody is a criminal, that means they break the law. So they don't follow the law. So what's going to stop a criminal from doing anything if I put it on a piece of paper. Nothing.
It's not. But you know what? I saw this statistic yesterday, trying to get prepared for our show. And since you brought that up, this is a good time to bring it up.
Yeah.
America right now, out of 193 countries, we are, it's either number 3 or number 5 in gun deaths in the world.
Yep.
Now, if you take out the top 5 cities in America that have gun deaths, Chicago,
L.A.,
Houston, L.A.,
Baltimore.
New York, and Baltimore, yes. If you take out those 5 cities, guess where America drops to?
Oh, man, I'd guess we'd be in the hundreds probably.
189 out of 93. So,
Wow.
now let me ask you something. Those 5 cities that I named, I'm not going to pick on too much on Houston because Texas is a great, they got a great governor.
They do, fantastic.
that is
Abbott does a
protecting
good
their
job.
people's
He
rights.
does, yeah.
Okay, but the other, and Houston actually surprised me.
Yeah.
But the other 4 cities, they have some of the most draconian gun laws around.
Well, and they're all run by Democrats, so.
Well, you know what?
Aren't they?
Yeah, they are all run by Democrats, and you know what? That brings me to something else I had here, and I've waited to share this with you. I didn't want to give you this until we got on air. But there are 3 types of Democrats that had been identified.
Okay.
They are the misinformed,
Okay.
they are the uninformed,
All right.
and they're the communists. Okay? And the misinformed and the uninformed is who elect the communists.
I could see that. Yeah.
I ran across that and I thought
I could see that.
that is absolutely brilliant.
I think it is. I could see that for sure.
And it just goes back to Ronald Reagan, because I mean, let's look at it. Most people that are Democratic, they think with their heart.
Sure.
They don't think with their brain. Well, Ronald Reagan warned us about this probably close to 50 years ago. He says if you're not a liberal at 20, you have no heart.
Yeah.
If you're not a conservative at 40, you have no brain. And no words have been spoken truer than that of today.
I mean, look at Fetterman. I mean, who in the world would vote for that guy? I mean, he's standing with the president in a hoodie and cargo shorts, and he can't even form a sentence. And that guy is a senator.
I know.
I mean, it just... You're right. People are misinformed. They're uneducated on who they vote for, especially on that level. And I mean, it's honestly sad. It really is, because that's how you get these communists and the people like that in places of power, and it's kind of scary. It really is. I mean, you got people that can't formulate a sentence. I don't know how they're supposed to govern.
Well, we got one that can't formulate a sentence. That's our president right now.
That's true. That's true.
He can't even walk across the stage without tripping. I mean, I tell you that right there, to me, it had nothing to do about an election. That was a selection.
Yep.
It wasn't an election. It was a selection.
Yep. Yep. And then you've got. Looks like we got somebody calling in.
Yeah.
You are live WDXE radio with Kip Capley and
Hello?
Lawrence. Hello.
Hello?
Hey, can you hear us?
Hi, you're on the air. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Is this WDXE?
It is. You're live on the air with Kip Capley.
I hope not.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go. 931-766-9393. That was weird. I don't know. We're good. We just
we're
keep
good.
rolling.
Yeah, we just got to keep going.
Also, this episode's brought to you by Striker Steakhouse. Shout out Striker Steakhouse. Really good food.
I ate there the other day.
Did you really? What'd you
Yeah.
have? Do you remember?
Yeah, I do remember. I had their fish and chips.
Ooh.
And ate there with Brandon.
Yeah.
And ate there with your buddy Chris Morris.
Chris Morris.
Yeah.
Good feller.
Yeah,
Good
great feller. You
Yes,
know,
sir.
we ate there, and it was a really good meal. I
Cool.
really enjoyed Strikers.
Yeah, shout out Strikers Steakhouse. If you had something good to eat, it was probably at Strikers.
Now you're making me hungry.
I'm always
It'll
hungry.
do that.
Yeah,
Strikers
I'm
will do
always
that
hungry.
to you. You know, it's just sad the stage that we're in. I mean, we've got a top Democrat right now that, well, I won't quite say top. Let me back up a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
A delegate who's a Democrat from the Virgin Islands, Stacey Plaskett, basically said on the air that Donald Trump needed to be shot while she was discussing the classified document investigation.
Right.
That he needed to be shot. And then she said, stopped. Can you imagine if...
Freudian slip.
Exactly. Can you imagine if Andy Ogles or Mark Green or Scott Desjardins or somebody like that said that Joe Biden needed to be shot?
No, but again, that's where we're at.
That would play for
the
weeks.
side that is
weeks.
supposed to be for they say they're for your rights and that they're for letting people have their own opinions if it agrees with what they say.
That's right.
But if you don't agree with what they say, you are shut down
Oh, yeah.
immediately.
100%.
I mean, you know what?
100%.
I mean, Joe Biden and this administration, to me, has done more damage to this country than just about any administration. I could probably name 2 or 3 that have done more damage to this country, but they had more time in office,
Sure.
too.
Yeah.
But there's not many. And I don't even wish ill on them. Matter of fact, I wish that they would come to Jesus personally.
Absolutely. Amen.
I wish they'd come to Jesus.
Yep.
And I would like to see them succeed, because if they succeed, if they truly succeed, and I don't care what administration it is, if they succeed, then America succeeds.
100%.
And that's
Absolutely.
what I
You're
want. I
exactly
want America to succeed.
Exactly right.
And I could care less. I mean, me and you've discussed this before.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not politically correct. I'm biblically correct.
Right.
It's just that the Republican Party, their values aligns more, not all the way, but
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
with God
Yeah.
than the other parties do. So that's the reason I am a Republican.
Yeah, and you know, it's really sad that we're at a point in our country. I mean, the Democrat that's leading Biden now in the polls, what's it, Robert F. Kennedy
Robert
Jr.?
F. Kennedy Jr., right.
He said he was on Joe Rogan's podcast or something this week where he was talking about pistol braces and bump stocks, and he said that a pistol brace actually changed the caliber of a firearm.
Yeah.
I mean, these people, and I know some of my Democrat colleagues and others in the House and some of our Democrats that represent us in Washington, they believe this stuff that's so asinine and incorrect that could not even be closer to the truth, and they're making the decisions for us, for you at home right now. For you at home right now, Joe Biden and the Democrats, we have control of the House right now in D.C., so
Right.
that should make you feel good. But the Democrats in the Senate and Joe Biden right now are making decisions for you, and that guy cannot make a full sentence reading from a podium.
So back about 6 or 8 years ago, we actually had a representative, a House of Rep in Georgia.
Okay.
And they were talking about how, and I forget the island, but they were putting a lot of militaries, I think it's an island off of the Philippines.
Okay.
And they were discussing
Guam
this.
or something?
Guam. It was Guam. That's
Bam.
exactly who it was.
Bam,
Very
bam.
good. So they were discussing about how we have all of these military equipment on Guam.
Yeah.
If I didn't hear this, and people, you can go and Google it or go to YouTube, you can find it, okay? he actually asked one of the generals that was in the committee that if we don't stop putting equipment on Guam, that there was going to be so much equipment on the island of Guam that it was going to tip over.
I remember that.
These are the people that are making decisions.
I remember that.
I mean,
Yeah.
don't even get me started on climate change.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
Yeah.
We're not even going to get on that.
Yeah. All right, we got 60 seconds. 45 seconds now. Yeah, those are the people making decisions for you, folks. I hope that makes you comfortable at home. I know that was a good one to end on there, but this episode is brought to you by Striker Steakhouse every Monday, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. My name's Kip Capley. I'm your state representative if you live in the 71st District. Lawrence, thank you for joining us, man. It was awesome.
I always love being around you,
Yeah,
buddy.
I appreciate that.
You are one of the good ones.
Well, I try to be. I try to do what the good Lord wants me to do, and I'm not perfect. I make mistakes and I mess up, but I'm just glad I got people like you that got my back. That
This is
I trip up, it
WDXE,
happens.
W287AA, and
Appreciate you, buddy.
W237FD Lawrenceburg. Broadcast services of Prospect Communications.
This is The Rich Eisen Show with guest host Kirk Morrison.
Let's start this program with
Wyndham Clark's mother, before she passed, had a mantra of play big. Wyndham Clark has played bigger than the biggest names of the game.
Live from The Rich Eisen Show studio.